Hi. I never know what to say to start these videos. I feel like an idiot. One thing I wanted to tell you today, because it is February, and I did something and realized something that I don't know why I hadn't realized this, but you guys know that January is not my favorite month. I struggle because I miss all the beauty to me, the beautiful autumn, and then the hype for Christmas, even though I do get I love Christmas for Christmas, what it is about. And the stress that the world gets in by about the middle of December kind of makes me want to just start for next year, now that my kids are gone and everything. Anyway, so January's always been hard for me, and I've talked about this before. And I got to thinking this year, before January came, I thought, you know what? I think I'm stuck in a rut. I grew up in New Mexico, and we have some bad weather. We get a little snow. We get some terrible wind. We get cold. I woke up this morning, it was 15 degrees at 8 o'clock. So we have winter, but it's not extreme winter, and the sun's out 90% of the time. And I got to thinking about the fact that when we left New Mexico and moved to Washington State and lived in a pretty little town named Ferndale, it was a beautiful little town. But the sun isn't like it is here. And I remember going 4th of July wearing our winter coats to watch the fireworks. And then it would get nice where we lived. It would get nice probably about the end of August, early September for a few weeks. And we'd have this beautiful sunshine. But it was very gloomy in the winter, very gloomy, winter, spring. And it was hard. Our whole family struggled with seasonal affective disorder, except my youngest son, because he was only 3 when we moved there, and it didn't seem to bother him as much. But so then we lived in Ferndale for 8 years, and then we moved to Colorado, because we were planning on moving back to Albuquerque, but soon, but my mom was in Colorado, my dad, and my mom was really struggling with her Alzheimer's by then, so we moved to Colorado, and we lived up in Monument, which is, cold. It's cold, and there's a lot of snow, a lot of wind, and I remember we went to the Neville Brothers concert. It was June, and we had tickets to the Neville Brothers concert, and so we drove down into Monument. We were higher than Monument. We were at 7,300 feet. And the snow, it was snowing. June 8th, it was snowing, and the snowdrifts that the plows had pushed out were about 20 feet high. We got to Denver, and it was a little warmer. But I realized that having grown up in the desert and with sunshine and blue sky and every kind of beautiful cloud you can imagine, it was really hard for me to live in those more overcast areas. And so even though we've been back for 10 years, I still been dreading January and still have a tough January. And so I got to thinking, spring comes early here. We got daffodils blooming in February. We got tulips in February, hyacinths. The sun's out, and it might be cold, you might have some wind, but the sun comes out. And so I started thinking about that. And then I started thinking that the way I've always dealt with January for about literally the last 7 years is I binge watch Criminal Minds. I love the show Criminal Minds. I'm just going to admit it to you. I love it. I don't love it after they fired Hotch. Okay? Just want to say. But the first, 7 seasons, I love it. Love the characters. And so I would sit in the evenings after I work and stuff. Every January, I would look forward to, I'm going to binge watch Criminal Minds. And I would binge watch Criminal Minds. And what would happen would be, I'd watch it for about a week, and then I'd start having nightmares about psychopaths and stuff and getting murdered. So I'd take a little break, because obviously it was affecting me. Take a little break, but I was just drawn to it because I just love it. And I would literally binge watch every evening. I watched Criminal Minds to get through January. And so as I was thinking about the fact that I don't live where it's overcast and where it's hard for me because I wasn't raised in that, I don't live there anymore. I have the beautiful spring. I have the daffodils in February, which daffodils are one of my favorite flowers. And then why am I binge watching Criminal Minds? Because it's dark. I like cop shows. I'm going to say it. I like cop shows. I like criminal shows. I like forensic shows. Not just fiction. I like real ones. And so I made a decision that I was all through January. I was going to focus on the fact that spring is just around the corner. That even though we have some rain, some snow, some gloomy days, which aren't very many, and it's cold, the sun's out. And I can go out and see the sun, and I don't have to worry anymore that I'm going to be trapped in gray for months and months and months. So as I decided to do that, I also made the determination for my emotional and mental health not to binge watch Criminal Minds, which was really hard for me because I love Criminal Minds. Instead, like I said, I like shows like that. Instead, I have been watching BBC murder shows. You know, there's a joke about the BBC murder shows. You know how you never want to live in a small town in England because you will get murdered. And it's just, but I love those shows because, first of all, they're entertaining. I love British stuff. Father Brown, if you've never watched it, I love Father Brown. And they're beautiful. They're beautiful. If you watch Father Brown, everything's green and there's flowers and they're eating scones and they're having their tea and it's just beautiful. So I watched Cranford. If you've ever seen BBC Cranford, I love that. I watched Cranford in my evenings when I'm puzzling, which is my downtime. I watched Cranford. I watched Father Brown. You've got to watch Lark Rise to Candleford. If you haven't watched Lark Rise to Candleford, you have to watch that. I think it's on Hulu right now for free, someone told me, but I love Lark Rise from Candleford. Well, then my friend Anna, your mother-in-law, I saw her post that she was feeling sick one day and she was watching Midsummer Murders. And I looked into it and it goes back, it has 21 seasons. And it's I'm sure it gets better as it goes. But, you know, there's a few scandalous criminal acts in that show. But it's beautiful! And I love it! And it's green! And it's like watching the Great British Baking Show if they weren't in a tent. And they were all outside in the beautifulness. And so, I went through January. I did not watch one episode of Criminal Minds. I focused on the fact that the daffodils are going to be out soon. I have little robins. Just 2 days ago, my bird bath and the bowls my dog drinks out of, the birds love them for bath. And I've missed my little birds because I can sit at the table and watch them. 2 days ago, I went out and it was all splashed up and there was bird dew on the porch right where the bowl is. And then I sat down at the table and the birds were back bathing. I made it through January without feeling like I was in a hole, without feeling discouraged. I fought off my seasonal affective disorder really well, and I did it by changing these terrible habits I've had for 7 or 8 years. Well, longer than that, but the Criminal Minds one was about 7 years. And so I just want to tell you guys, if you're struggling through winter, watch the BBC murder shows, Father Brown, watch Lark Rise to Candleford. It's not a murder show. Watch Cranford with all that green and all those flowers and all that sunshine. Oh, and you know, of course, Hyacinth Bouquet. I'll watch that too. What's it called? Keeping Up Appearances. I love that show. She cracks me up. But it's just green and lovely. And yes, some of them are old school and they don't have the, you know, they're not high tech, but I like that about them. And so anyway, I just wanted to tell you that I have had my first success of 2020. I made it through January without feeling totally blue and gray and sad and unhappy. So that's the key for me. And for you, if you're still struggling, some people don't struggle. I struggle. But I just wanted to share that with you because I finally put my mind to it. And after 20 years, more than that, 22 years of just hating January, I made it through and I didn't hate January. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I love you guys and I'll talk to you later.